Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Allison Mattern, and Harper and Amy and I are all excited to just share some strategies for building immunity. And this is such a hot topic right now. It's much needed in our world. And, this is something that we've been sharing for a while from our team. So we're just glad to be able to share this when it means so much um, in this current climate that we're in. And we're going to be sharing some practical guides to building immunity, as well as a company and products that we trust that can help with that immunity. And so, you've joined us tonight, so you have a thought on this, but why does our immunity matter? And we're seeing the impact of this right now. When we get sick, it keeps us from doing the things that we plan to do. And right now, of course, everything is canceled. We were just talking about graduation and some of those major kind of events in our kids' lives, and those things are canceled right now. And it's just an impact of the virus and the fear of spreading it. And if this was normal times, even if we got sick, you'd be concerned about missing birthday parties, family gatherings, sports events, and even work. And so it just shows just how much that being sick does impact just so much in our lives. And what we're going to share today isn't magic. We may still get sick, but that impact or the length of how long you're sick can definitely be shortened based on how your immunity is built. And so that quicker recovery time, the less sick days that you need to take away from work or school, those are all very positive things in our lives. And of course, immunity has a cumulative effect. So it's never too late to start, but it's also great to start young and teach kids those great habits so that they can take those with them as they get older. But we can certainly make changes as an adult as well. So our immunity is worth the effort. Many times it's small changes that can lead to those big results. So it's not necessarily just a massive thing that we're going to ask you to do today or present as a strategy, but it is something potentially small that you can do. And it's really building blocks to be able to build that immunity. And really, we all have to face challenges each day. And, we have that challenge of being you could have that challenge of being sick or even caring for somebody who is sick, and that's not something we want. But so we can choose our challenges. And I would rather have that discussion and challenge of the vegetables at the dinner table than dealing with the stomach flu, cold, or other illnesses going on. So this is a mission that we at Shackley talk about, and it's a mission to change healthcare into well care. And really, when we think about healthcare, it's about being sick. That's when we go to the doctor, that's when we get our medicine, and really we'd like to reverse that and talk about healthcare, about being about health and wellness, and the habits that you can build in life. So tonight we're going to talk about some specific steps on building immunity, and really we're talking about um, just some intentional things that just keeping in mind. Some of them are kind of obvious, and some are just things, reminders of probably information that but then also sharing just some tips that you can take away and hopefully start on that wellness journey. So step one, we start with the hard one. This is definitely the hardest out of the 4 steps that we'll go through, and this is nutrition. And this is hardest for kids, hardest for your spouse, especially mine, and hardest for me as well. I won't claim that I'm that I'm not part of this, but it is the hardest one, but it's also the biggest one, and it can make such a difference to your immunity. So we'll just start with the honest truth here is that vegetables strengthen the immune system. And so, having those vegetables, eating the rainbow we talk about, those will all strengthen the immune system, and they have those nutrients that your body needs to really build. And then the second one is, of course, sugar weakens the immune system. And so, when we think about, we always talk about eating healthy, and we always want to bring in the vegetables and remove the sugar, and this is prime example for why we do that. Protein is critical. It helps the body build and repair cells, and then water is so important. And there's always the goal, I think it's eight glasses of water a day, but it just helps flushes out your body, flushes out your system. And normally winter is that cold and flu season, and that's when people are not getting enough vitamin D, they're not drinking enough water. You know, if you think about it, in the summer, we're outside and we're running around and we're hot, and so we're drinking the water. But in the winter, we're not doing that. And so that's actually when we end up being more dehydrated, and the water actually helps our immunity. You know, but in the winter is when we see that cold and flu season really spike up. And another thing that you know, just because we're in a kind of a time of stress right now, but just to note, water actually affects moods. So if you are feeling a little crabby, or maybe your kids are a little crabby, maybe take some time and just make sure that everyone's drinking enough water. So just a side note that might be a good tip for right now in the situation we're in. And then the last on the list, gut health. Gut health is a major part of our nutrition. 70 to 80% of our immune system is controlled by your gut, and it's highly affected by what you eat. So that vegetables, bringing in vegetables, removing the sugar, all of those um, play a key part in that, in your nutrition, but then also the gut health that you can maintain. So some action steps, being aware of what you eat and how it affects your immunity. You know, depending on what changes you're looking to make, perhaps a tracking of food. You know, there's different apps for that. You know, a lot of times people say eating healthy starts in the kitchen, but it really starts at the grocery store, because if you don't have it in your house, you can't eat it. So that's always something I remind myself is like, just don't put it on the list, and um, you know, then it just doesn't come in the house. And this doesn't mean that you never have to eat, you can't ever eat something unhealthy again, but there's definitely the thought to increase those healthy habits, and that becomes the norm. So you're able to then build that immunity. The second step here is stress and sleep. And of course, normally this is a smaller factor, but right now I think stress is one that we can all admit is a major part of our day to day. You know, whether that's the fear of getting the coronavirus, whether it's worried about going to the grocery store, perhaps it's even the e-learning that is just a bit too much, and we're counting the days for the school year to end. There's just so many factors that can really impact stress right now, and it's important to address the stress. So we recommend an herb called ashwagandha, and it's in a product called Stress Relief Complex, and that actually helps blunt the cortisol, helps your body deal with stress. And we actually just had a webinar on stress yesterday, and it's really a whole topic on its own. So if you want to hear that, you know, please let us know. We can make sure that that link gets to you. But it's important to know that stress does impact your immunity. And so, I mean, in this situation like we're in right now, we can't really control all aspects of it. Um, but we can identify the things we can control. So we can go back to that nutrition, we can increase our supplementation. So just thinking about the pieces that you can control and making sure that you take action on those so that your immunity can still be built. Because unfortunately right now, I think the stress is just going to be there maybe for a little bit longer. And then the other piece of this is sleep. And sleep plays a major role in our immune system. When we sleep, our body gets that time to rest, it gets that time to recover. It's not just falling asleep, but it's also the quality of sleep. So being able to stay asleep for the whole night. One of the number one contributors to sleep issues is actually calcium and magnesium deficiencies. So, you know, that's something that we think, well, you know, drinking a glass of milk or something like that, but you can get that calcium, magnesium from so many different foods, but it's also one that many studies have shown impacts your sleep, impacts dental issues. It can impact sleepwalking and growing pains. So even in my house, my kids and I, we take a supplement to ensure our sleep is quality sleep each night, to make sure that we, you know, that's our bodies can recover while we're sleeping, and hopefully build our immunity that way. So, you know, when we think about stress and sleep, you know, a good example, of course, is right now. Everybody is on a high stress level, and you know, potentially not getting as much sleep as we need. But it's also around the holidays. At a normal holiday, you know, if you have to worry about get-togethers and, you know, some events that are late nights, so you're getting less sleep, and just the extra plans, and maybe not drinking enough water and more alcohol, and, you know, those all come into play. And so a lot of times you see people get sick around the holidays just because of those that extra stress and the less sleep that happens. So, this one is, seems very obvious, but it's important to pay attention to that sleep and stress in our lives. So step 3 is about healthy habits. And it seems a little funny to mention this right now because, washing hands has been such a big topic, but we've been saying this for a while. But just to wash hands, wash water bottles, wash your bed sheets and your phones. You'll get sick less when there are less germs around and on those things. So everyone is, of course, more aware of this right now. But one item to consider is to switch to non-toxic cleaning products. So many, because the focus right now is on cleaning and disinfecting, there's so many chemicals out there, and those aerosol sprays, you spray them and you're breathing that in, but that gets in your lungs and can affect your respiratory system. So just be cautious with Clorox, Lysol, bleach, any of those cleaning products, and consider switching to something non-toxic that is just as effective, but will not have an impact on your health. And actually, the number one non-toxic change that you can make is for your cleaning products is your laundry detergent. So this can affect your immunity. It can also affect your allergies. And if you consider that you wash your clothes and then you're wearing them the whole day, and then they're sleeping in your bed sheets at night that have been washed in the same laundry detergent, so you're just surrounded by whatever that detergent is for 24 hours a day. And so that's an important one to consider. And there's so many free and clear products out there on the market, but a lot of times they're free and clear of the dyes and fragrances, but not necessarily of the chemicals. So just be careful when looking at that laundry detergent, because that is a really, really important one. And then the last one here under step 3 of healthy habits is about exercise. And, this gets easier as it gets warmer, being able to get outside and move around a bit more. Unfortunately, right now, gyms are closed in most areas. And so, what maybe if exercising had been at a gym had been part of your normal routine, you may be trying to figure out a different way to do that now. And so it's just important to know that that does affect your immunity and how your body is dealing with things. And so just to recommend finding some time in your day to move, whether it's fast or slow, but just to keep moving and to keep finding, whether it's home exercise or going on a walk or run or running around the yard with kids, just being able to keep that exercise going each day. And Harper, I'm going to pass it on to you for the next one.
Awesome. Well, those are 3 really important steps. And I would probably say that nutrition, like Allison said, is the hardest. And then obviously sleep and stress and healthy habits are very important. I think probably the easiest one to implement, but one that take some understanding to do it well, is the supplementation. But I think to remember that it is supplementation, because our nutrition does matter. And so it supplements our nutrition. And so a lot of times we get the question of, well, why do we supplement? Like, if we're working so hard to eat all this healthy food, why do we need to supplement? And I think that's really important and a really good question to ask. The first piece is that our soil is depleted. The amount of, and not only is the soil depleted, but the travel that our produce takes, it's not as nutrient dense as it used to be. What the nutritional value of a carrot 50, 60 years ago, it now takes at least 6 carrots to fulfill that. And that's true about organic produce too, because growers are growing for yield and not for nutritional density. And so it's really important to know that so many times that we are not getting all the nutrients from food that we need to. And even you think about, I don't know how many of you are in the Midwest, but in the Midwest, this is the worst case, but it's anywhere north of Atlanta, they say that are deficient in vitamin D. And so that is another thing to think about, because at least in the Midwest, they always say that we don't go out when it's too hot and we don't go out when it's too cold. And therefore we are missing our most important way to get vitamin D. But I think, so it's really important to know that. And then the next question is, how does supplementation boost our immune system? I think, and if you've been following that part of the news at all, you've seen that vitamin C, vitamin D, all of these things are core pieces that even the mainstream news is talking about that builds your immune system. And what it does is basically it's giving your body what it needs and what it's designed to have to do what it's designed to do. And so when we fuel our body with these things, then it can fight disease and it can keep our body strong. And so many times, even with what Allison was saying, when we supplement with calcium, magnesium, it can help us sleep, or we supplement herbally with ashwagandha to help us sleep or deal with stress during the day. Really thinking about those core things. And so what do we do from here? So there's a lot of information. We're not done, because one of the other really important questions that we get about this step 4 is, why would I supplement when so many vitamins don't even work? You're right. A lot of vitamins on the market don't work. And that's why we want to talk to you today about the vitamins that we recommend. But let's go to the action steps real quick. So first, you need to build your baseline health with supplements. This isn't about like magic immunity pills. This is about building your baseline so that you're at the core, you have good health. And that is right now during this season, that's next fall when you go to school, that's every Christmas, that's every time, because this season is going to go away and our immunity is still going to matter. And so it's building that baseline of health, because when we have that baseline of health, our body is more prepared to take on whatever comes. And so really having that baseline of core nutrition, your multivitamin, your vitamin C, your vitamin D, core things, but then also having a natural medicine cabinet. So what do you have on hand for if you do feel even just a cold, a sniffle coming on? What do you do when you may feel like you not nowadays, but in other times when you're going to be around people, or you get that note home from your kid's school, having some basic natural medicine cabinet items. And then really key, like I said, is making sure that you're investing in high quality bioavailable supplements, because the most expensive vitamin is the one that doesn't work. And that's what we want to help you understand too, is how it's important to know that you can trust a company. And so what I loved when I was on my own health journey, we were very unhealthy. We started making those nutritional changes. We started making those habit changes. We started exercising, all that stuff. We got to the point where we needed 2 things. We needed non-toxic cleaning products, like Allison mentioned, and we needed supplements. And all the things that we had read about supplements were that they were basically garbage and that we were wasting our money, until we found Shaklee. And there were a few things about Shaklee that made us be able to trust them, and have for the last 15 years. The first thing was this history. So Dr. Shaklee invented the first multivitamin in 1915, and the first biodegradable cleaner in 1960. And what that said to me was that all of the things that we're going to talk about next, the science, the integrity, that is not new. That is something that Shaklee has stood behind for a very, very long time. And so knowing that this was a trustworthy company because of that history, and because not only were they trustworthy, but they were on the cutting edge of science and had been for a very long time. That led into the other pieces that were so important to us, which was the purity and the potency. So purity really matters because, and you may not know this, but we don't want to have our supplements contaminated, which is definitely something that happens, because if raw materials are not tested, then the companies just don't know what's actually in the vitamins. So Shaklee does 350 tests on every new botanical ingredient. That includes heavy metals, harmful contamination, pesticides, even things that are certified organic. Because if it's certified organic, that means that the farmer did what he was supposed to do, but it doesn't guarantee that the crop is actually not contaminated. But our testing guarantees that. And we do over 100,000 quality tests per year so that you know what's on that label is actually in your vitamin. And that really matters because they've done studies where they took some vitamins that were on the shelf and they, in lots of stores that you would know, and they tested them, and a good percentage of them, it was what was on the label wasn't what was in the pill. All the pills were not necessarily the same amounts of different things. It's really important to have purity in your supplements, but And that's important. But right now, what matters to most people even more, and what mattered to us when we started looking, was potency. Is that Shaklee guarantees that their vitamins are going to do what they say they're going to do. They do clinical testing on their products to make sure that their vitamin D actually absorbs. And that's why we see so many people who have been on prescription levels of vitamin D, 30,000, 50,000 units, and their doctor is not seeing their blood levels go up significantly. They switch to ours, and all of a sudden their blood levels go up, and their doctor's like, this is awesome, because it's designed to actually absorb in the body. And so that is, and that is proven too by our landmark study, which is a very powerful study. Just very briefly, the University of California, Berkeley asked to test people who'd been taking Shaklee for 20 years or more and compare it to people who were on a multivitamin and who were taking nothing. It was a risk because no one knew what they were going to publish whatever they found, but our numbers were significantly lower in so many different levels of health. And so it was just proof of the quality that matters. And the Landmark 2 study is coming out soon, and we're excited to share that information. But those are really key pieces in understanding the Shaklee difference and why it matters when we talk about supplementation and immunity, why it matters what products you're using.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Amy Derrick. So I'm going to go through the next couple of slides with you, which are going to focus on some of the immunity products that Shaklee offers. So Harper and Allison have kind of briefly mentioned some of these already, but I'm going to go into them in just a little more depth. So the first one that comes out is vitamin C. And like we've been saying, that should really be no surprise that vitamin C is really getting so much hype right now in the news and in the media and in the nutritional reports. Vitamin C is really integral in fighting immune problems and immune deficiencies. So they have been finding in the COVID treatments and then in the COVID prevention that vitamin C has been really successful on both of those fronts in both treating and preventing the COVID. So we're hearing a lot about it, and we're hearing about the importance of keeping a high level of vitamin C in your system. So this is nothing new. Vitamin C has always been important for our bodies, but we're just hearing much more about it now. Some of the traditional benefits that we have always gotten from vitamin C and we continue to get from vitamin C are the protection against like cardiovascular disease, protection against eye problems, eye diseases, even wrinkles. So there's a whole plethora of benefits to come from vitamin C, and definitely getting a lot of hype now because of what's going on in our world with our pandemic. Next slide. Kind of paired with vitamin C would be the vitamin D. So vitamin D is also something that has always been important, but we're hearing a lot more about it now. We're finding that vitamin D really does play a huge critical role in immune defenses as well. The main reason for vitamin D being so important in our immunity is because it allows the calcium and the phosphorus to absorb into our bloodstream. So if you hear of someone or yourself, you have low levels of vitamin D, then you are likely to have low levels of calcium as well too, because that mechanism of pulling the calcium into your bloodstream is not there, because that is what relies upon vitamin D3 to do that job. So they kind of work hand in hand. So vitamin D is just very essential to our immune health right now. On top of that, it's always been essential to our bone health and the health of our teeth. And we also get improved lung function and improved cardiovascular benefits from good levels of vitamin D as well. Shaklee has recently increased the IU level in the vitamin D3, so we're up to 2,000 IUs right now, which is really significantly high. And just to give you some perspective on that, it would take you eating multiple servings of fatty fish per day to get near to that 2,000 IU level mark that we're at now with our current D3 supplement. Next slide. Nutriferon. Nutriferon is a really interesting immunity product that we have started to swear by in my family. We take it every day since the world has gotten a little scary, and since we had the COVID outbreak, we started taking this every day. So Nutriferon was developed by a doctor and a researcher in Japan who studied interferon. So he was the discoverer of interferon. What interferon does is it enhances and it boosts your cells level, your cellular defense at the base level. So the nutriferon that was produced by this Japanese scientist was studied for many decades by him, and it pulls together a botanical blend of interferon boosting ingredients. So you can see from the screen that some of the extracts and some of the things that are going into the production of this patented nutriferon by the discoverer, by the scientist: pumpkin seeds, plantain, honeysuckle extract. So a lot of really natural botanicals that were blended together into this nutriferon product, which is going to give you daily immune support. So it's going to help protect you against not only the things that you're worried about right now, but pollution and the common colds that flow in our world every day, and the stress that we get from our lives. We're gonna see a lot of benefits from taking this nutriferon every day, and it is something that can be taken on a daily basis. And next slide. So Shaklee has put together something called the Immunity Challenge Pack. This was rolled out a couple of months ago, kind of in response to COVID and into our world situation. So the Immunity Challenge Pack is going to contain the Life Shake, and then a bottle of the nutriferon, which we were just talking about, as well as the Vitalizer strips. So you may question, why would protein be so important in immunity? And it actually is. Protein is the basis of all of the functions that our body does. So it's essential that we have a high level of protein and that we keep up on that. So this protein shake has 20 grams of protein per serving, 6 grams of fiber. It comes in both a soy protein option as well as a plant protein option. It can be blended together with fruit and vegetables to make a really delicious smoothie. So that's something that I have for breakfast every day. My family has for breakfast every day, and we love it. Not to mention that there's also digestive enzymes included in there too, which are based on like ancient grains. So there's definitely a lot of goodness coming out of the Life Shakes. Next slide. So in addition, I mentioned that there's this Vitalizer strip that comes with it as well too. That comes in a box, and it comes in a 30-day supply. So the Vitalizer is going to be specific to a men's version or a women's version, and there's also an over 50 gold version. The Vitalizer is going to give you all of the vitamins and the nutrients that you need in a day's basis. So some of those things are the carotenoids, the omegas, and then there's a multivitamin in there, as well as a B and C complex, and then the Pearl probiotic. The probiotic is essential for immunity as well too, because as we're finding more and more, immune health really starts in the gut, because you've got to balance your good bacteria with your bad bacteria in your gut. So that really serves as your first line of defense to having a strong and healthy immune system. Next slide. This slide is just showing you all of the foods that you would need to eat to get the same level of vitamins and nutrients that you would get in the one Vitalizer strip. So you can see it's quite significant, and I'm not sure that anybody would want to eat like 17 bananas all at once. But that just, shows the magnitude of goodness available in the Vitalizer strip. Next slide. This is showing you just a little bit about the science that goes into the Vitalizer strip. So everything is based on absorbency. So getting it into your system and getting it to the right places so that your body can actually use it and get the benefits from it. So that is what makes Shaklee different from some of the other market brands that you would see out there in this industry. Not only is the absorption second to none, but the potency and the purity is also second to none. So you can kind of see some of those benefits highlighted here on each different element that goes into the Vitalizer strip. And next slide. We also have a Prove It Challenge, which is a really popular thing that's been around for some time, and it continues to stay around because it continues to be popular. So it's a 30-day health journey, which is meant to change the trajectory of your health going forward. So it starts out with an optional cleanse, which is a whole foods cleanse, which goes for day 1 through 7. You can do this with the support of a Facebook community, and you're going to find that you have more energy, you're going to lose some of that excess bloat, you're going to be sleeping better, you're going to have better focus. And people do usually lose an average of 6 pounds going through the cleanse. And then the beautiful part about that is if you have done cleanses before, and then you go right back to your normal diet right after that, you end up gaining all the weight back. Well, in this case, you go into days 8 through 30 after that, where you move into the strip and the shake portion of the Prove It Challenge. So you are going to have a much better chance of keeping that weight off and then continuing with weight loss if that is your goal. So you just take the Vitalizer strip every day, and then you do a life shake, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever you choose. And you can do that in the support of a Facebook community as well too. And next slide. This is just showing that we also have a Prove It Challenge available for the kids. They're not left out, and there's really mirrors the version that we have for the adults too. The only difference is that they have a children's multivitamin included in there. So they can feel like they're doing a health journey with you as well, which is always a good thing to keep the kids involved in. And like Allison said, make health a priority from day one for your children. Next slide.
There I am. And what I love about all of this is that there are, when you're looking at immunity and you're looking at this and you're hearing this information, there are 3 different ways that you can respond. You can use, you can share, and you can build. You can use these products using these first 3 steps that we shared, and then using Shaklee for that 4th step. Will definitely make a difference in your health, in your overall health, and your immunity. And all of these things that we're talking about have side benefits as well. Even vitamin D, it boosts your immunity, but it also helps boost your mood, which we all need all of that right now. So using the products will definitely make a difference. And you can share these products. You may know someone who would love to hear this information. You may know someone who could really benefit from just having some of these tools in their toolbox. And if you share that, we want to reward you. But you also may be thinking, you know what? This is really great information, and I would love to share this with more people and do what the people who invited me to this call do, and be able to share that to create a business. The next slide. Shaklee not only provides incredible products and an incredible community around health that can help you, Amy mentioned some of our groups, but also creates a possibility for income. And I think, while a lot of people right now are thinking a lot about sickness and immunity, a lot of people are also thinking about their economic immunity, if you would say. But we always say that we provide a healthier life for everyone and a better life for anyone. And this is my family a long time ago, but Shaklee made this slide, so I like to use it. But this is a great quote from my husband. It says, "The income from our Shaklee business has given us the gift of living an integrated life of faith, family, and business, and we're able to do what we feel called to do and not what we have to do. This business allows us to improve lives without compromising our values or priorities." And that's definitely what we felt. We felt that for the last 15 years, and we feel that now in the midst of this. And so we're really excited because what Shaklee has recently launched is a program called the Work From Anywhere program, because really what we're noticing now in this environment is the ability to work from anywhere. And on top of that, Dr. Shaklee said a long time ago, "I wanted a company that would improve the lives of everyone it touched." And we see it improving the lives of people who invest in it for their health, but also who want to share it. And the people who want to share it know that everything they're doing is making someone's life better. And that's where we come up with this phrase, "Work from anywhere, wellness for all," is our current slogan right now about our business opportunity. And we really have launched an incredible way to join our business. We have a special program going on right now that helps you get started quickly. A really great way, whether it's a side income or a supplemental income, or maybe it's something that you're looking at, like maybe you love working from home and you want to keep working from home, all different reasons that people come into this. But it's a great opportunity. And if this is something that would interest you, we would love to share more about it with you. And I think we just want to end thanking you for being here, of course, but also with this quote: "Do something today that your future self will thank you for." And whether that is starting to change your diet, whether that's adding some supplements that will boost your immune system and help you feel better, or whether that is taking a look at maybe a supplemental career or a career change, we would love to help you to do something today that your future self will thank you for. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.